How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be taking a look at Krampus the Reckoning. Now, as you guys can probably see, I'm in my car. I'm trying to do this right before I finish up Christmas shopping. I got one more store to go to, then hopefully that should be done for this year. But yeah, there's a big Arctic blast coming in, and yeah, time is running so short on so many things, so getting this done in a little moment when I have a bit of a break. Anyway, Krampus the Reckoning today. This is from 2015, directed by Robert Conway, and stars Monica Engesser, Amelia Haberman, and James Ray. Now, this is actually the first Krampus mockbuster I've talked about, and there are quite a few of them. When Mike Dougherty and Universal did the big Krampus movie, it got a lot of people making these things, because Krampus is a German folktale, folk character, and in turn he's copyright free, but no one knew who he was until Mike Dougherty made his movie, and now there's a bunch of interest in it, and in turn a whole bunch of movies being made. Kind of think of it like Amityville or Ouija, where there are official movies, but there's a whole bunch more mockbusters than anything nowadays. And yeah, if you guys know mockbusters, if you guys know the Amityville and the Ouija mockbuster movies, super low budget, and usually not the best thing ever. Now, there are some of these mockbusters that are super bad and super painful and just a chore to watch. Luckily, though, not this one. Now, I don't want to oversell it. I don't want to say it's great. I don't want to get you too excited for it. But there is a bit of idea here. There is a bit of a new story to tell, and you can tell there is some effort to this. It's a little bit above your, regular low-budget movie. That being said, still a low-budget mockbuster. It still does have the tropes. It's just, a little bit better than a lot of them. If you guys are planning on doing a big Krampus marathon and watching a whole bunch of mockbusters, this will probably be floating a little higher than a lot of them, Let's talk a little bit about the plot. No major spoilers. We open up with this little girl. She's in the foster system, and she is disturbed and angry. Well, one day, her foster parents literally lock her in her room with a padlock, and she gets really angry at them, and then very Friday the 13th style, the two of them go to have sex, and Krampus is, of course, going to kill them. And it may sound a little bit weird, but I was actually kind of relieved when they did this scene. If you guys know mockbusters, low-budget movies, and in particular factory film, the lower you go, the more PG they tend to feel. So oddly enough, it is kind of a relief to have some explicit material right near the beginning, so you know that there's a little effort put into this. For whatever reason, factory films, super PG. But anyway, how Krampus kills them is the different, interesting thing in this movie. The little girl has a box with a Krampus doll and some yarn dolls that are essentially voodoo dolls. They're going to look like her parents, and she has to take the little chains off Krampus, and that will send the real Krampus out to whoever the dolls look like. So yeah, kind of weird it's a Krampus voodoo doll movie, kind of weird a little girl's controlling him, and also missed the chance to call this Krampus Unchained. That would have been a good idea there. But anyway, Krampus actually burns them, which is different. There are some cool burning elements, a burning hand on a burning steering wheel, melted glasses, and of course a charred corpse at the end. But that being said, Krampus can only burn people, and that did get a little repetitive, and sadly none of these kills did wow me, and it's just Krampus burns people again and again and again, and as a slasher geek, I really appreciate when there's something that mixes it up, and with all these burns, you don't really get any of that. There's nothing super fantastic here. But anyway, the girl's back in the foster system. She's not talking to anyone, so they get in a child psychologist who's going to be your main character, and she's going to try to get the girl to open up. And the girl's supposed to be closed off, and she's supposed to be creepy. She does kind of come off as a little mean, you know, like, oh, I'm just not gonna talk to you, and oh, okay, whatever. But of course, she has to track down the mysteries. More bodies are going to pile up. You're going to get a detective character that will be her love interest, and you have to do the research and find out Krampus's story there. Very much a classic curse movie. You know, follow the clues, find the origin story, unravel the mystery, all that stuff. We've seen it before. It was done better in The Ring, all that stuff. But anyway, yeah, people die, she finds the pieces, and it leads to an ending, which I won't spoil, but when I got to the ending of this, I was just like, yeah, okay, I guess that's the solution to the mystery then, huh? Okay, kind of weird. Again, a little weird trying to be creative, but at the end of the day, I don't know, I wasn't 100% feeling it, and it involves this plot element, I won't say, but once they drop one hint toward it, you're like, oh, that's the whole thing, you know? And so, not necessarily the biggest and best on that. Overall, like I said, a pretty standard, follow the curse, solve the mystery type deal. There's some new stuff with this version of Krampus. The voodoo doll is very new. The burning is new. So there is some effort. And you can see that they're trying, but overall, this movie, you know, why it is better than a ton of low-budget movies is very, very standard, you know? And there is also a few low-budget weird things I have to mention. One, there's a scene that's edited out of order where, unless I misread the movie, the girl makes the voodoo doll of this guy after she kills him. And then there's also this guy that shows up at a bar in one scene that super big coincidence that he would be there. I'm like, okay, movie, I don't really buy that this one guy just happened to show up. But overall, though, a big flaw with this that maybe I should have mentioned earlier, it's not super Christmassy. You know, when you look at a movie and you say, okay, this is a Christmas movie, I expect that sort of giddy sense of anticipation. I expect decorations everywhere. Maybe it's even snowing. And I expect a whole bunch of lines like, oh, it's Christmas. I can't believe we have to solve a murder on Christmas. I just really would like a Christmas movie to be caked in that Christmas atmosphere. But here it's really just two things, is one, just mentioning Krampus and that he's tied to Santa and stuff, and two is every now and then you'll get a room with a Christmas tree and some lights, but other than that, the references to Christmas are pretty few and far between, and it really makes me wonder if this movie was always going to be a Krampus movie, like maybe they decided like halfway through to change it to that to make it more profitable. Because it is super odd that Krampus doesn't come up more than he does, you know, as far as Christmas and the plot and stuff. So, yeah, it is not super Christmassy. And then even, like, look at Krampus there on the box. If I showed you this guy and asked you who he was, you wouldn't necessarily say Krampus. I mean, he looks good enough, but he doesn't feel too much like a folklore character. He just kind of feels like a monster. You know, he's there, he's still got his horns, and I do like his teeth, but he looks just kind of like a CGI monster, and the CGI isn't terrible, but you can tell that's what it is, you know? So overall, I really wish if this had more of a Christmassy feel. It's already better than a lot of these micro-budget movies, but a Christmassy feel really would have given it that extra little bump. But as it stands now, what I can say is, if you're watching a bunch of these micro-budget Krampus movies, it won't be the worst, but it's not the best thing ever either. It's fine for what it is, and if you know what a low budget horror movie can be, especially in the modern era, you'll know that when I say that this is an okay one of those, you'll know what I mean by that, you know? So not the best thing ever, but really not the worst thing ever. And with micro budget mockbusters, being not the worst thing ever is actually okay. Anyway, so that, yeah, it's fine. Not really great, but it's okay, they tried something. Anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I'll put a relevant playlist on the bottom. This should be a Christmas playlist. If you want to see me talk about more movies, you can find them in there. This year, I also covered Violent Night with David Harbour, Christmas, Bloody Christmas, and a bunch of other stuff. So if you guys want to see me talk about more Christmas, you can click this playlist right here. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Relevant playlist on the bottom. Have a good day now.